everyone, welcome back to Joanne Tech Lover. I'm Joanne, and today I'll be going over this NZXT Noctis 450 mid-tower PC case. As you can see, I have the white version here with me. This comes with blue LEDs, but it's also available in the matte black version with red LEDs if that is more your style. And I have to say, NZXT is usually pretty winning in case designs. Here are the accessories that come in the box. No user guide because this is a sample, and but they do have this look at their other products, like their fans and their Phantom line of cases and whatnot. And then in this bag, you do get some cable ties, zip ties, as well as an NZXT case badge and the rest of your mounting hardware. Here's a look at the dimensions of this case first. It measures 220 millimeters or 8.6 inches wide by 567 millimeters or 22.3 inches tall, and it is 544 millimeters or 21.4 inches deep, and it weighs in at 9.75 kilograms or 21.4 pounds, and it's of course made of steel and plastic, and it's in glossy white, and you also get these floating panels up top and on the front with mesh for plenty of airflow as well as a cool design. Of course, they're not really floating, but it's kind of cool looking. Now then, on the front, I'm just gonna take a closer look right here. I half expect a red eye to glow through right here. As you can see, there is no 5¼ inch drive bay, and that seems to be the norm for the NZXT cases I've gone over this past year, and you don't really need it, but I kind of like it just in case. And as you can tell, there's also plenty of ventilation here, and this case design is supposed to give you 10 times more ventilation surface area in comparison to the H440, which is another nice case. I've removed the front panel by just grabbing from the bottom here and pulling outwards, and I gotta say I'm so glad that it wasn't that difficult because when I'm yanking on it, it really feels like I'm going to break it. But on the other side, ooh, it looks kind of alien, like a brain. But this is what the mesh looks like. You can get a better idea of how it's spaced out. Now then, over here, you do get a very large magnetic dust filter, so it's, see? Very easy to remove and replace. And I love dust filters like this because it's just easier to clean. And here is a look at their 3 included fans. So these are your 3 120 millimeter FNV2 intake fans. There's also optional fan mounts for 140 millimeter fans, 2 of them if you want. And then as for radiator support, you could support radiators up to 280 and 360. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the side panel window without all that glare, please. Anyway, as you can see, it's not a full rectangular shape, which I actually personally really like, but they wanted to hide the hard drive area here, but it's also covered with a panel, as you can kind of see right here. I'll give you a closer look at that in just a bit, but I always love having a side panel window so I can see, you know, the baby that I've created inside here. And also, the NZXT logo will light up on the power supply shroud, but more on that in just a bit. Now then, let's go to the rear of the case. Here's your 4th included case fan. This is a 140 millimeter FNV2 NZXT exhaust fan, and you also get this long slot mount design so you can orient your fan higher or lower depending on where you wish to direct that airflow. You also get a mounting point for a 120 millimeter fan, and of course for radiator setup up to 140 millimeters. Now next to that, up here is a LED button, on-off button for the I/O LED as well as the LED that shines where the expansion slots are for easy plugging in and replugging of your cable. Anyway, you get 7 expansion slots as well as a couple rubber grommets so you can thread through your cables, and I would say most likely just your water cooling tubes unless you have, like, you know, older USB 3.0 setup. On the bottom is a power supply mount with a bracket. So you remove the bracket and attach the power supply and slot the power supply in through the rear. And oh look, there's even a dust filter where the power supply mount is to catch all of that dust. How awesome is that? And it's just a smooth side panel on this side. Here's a look at the top of the case. You get more of that floating panel design with plenty of mesh ventilation beneath that. And then let's go ahead and take a closer look at the ports. You get a large power button that lights up as well as headphone and mic jacks, 2 USB 3.0 ports and 2 USB 2.0 ports. And you'll notice that there is no reset button. I've also removed the top panel. Here's another look at the ventilation. And on the other side, you can see mounting points for plenty of fans and radiators. So pretty much exactly like the front, you get mounting points for up to a 360mm radiator or 280mm or three 120mm fans or two 140mm fans. Now then, let's go ahead and swing it to the bottom of the case. You get rubberized feet, well, raised feet for better airflow and to reduce that vibration, as well as the dust filter that I was talking about and plenty of ventilation for where the power supply sits. And it appears that there is a mount for a 3.5-inch drive as well as a 2.5-inch drive on the bottom of the case. I'm going to go ahead and remove the right side panel, and you get captive thumb screws, which is great because that means it's hard to lose, but also bear in mind that don't twist them too much or they will just fall out. And I love that NZXT case panels are so easy to remove. It's like butter. I don't know how they do it compared to some others that I've seen. Now then, on this side, holy, you get a huge trapezoid looking cutout for your aftermarket heatsink. You also get plenty of holes, and some of them are grommeted for routing your cables through, and a really generous area down here where all of your cables, you could just shove them in there and no one will see. Here's a closer look at the 8-port PWM fan hub, and you can remove it via these two screws, but why would you want to, right? Anyway, you can connect the fan hub to a Crocom product and adjust the fan profiles using the NZXT CAM software, and I use it to check my system temps, which can be pretty useful. Here are some connectors that are just sitting beneath the fan hub and connected to it. So you have a Molex plug right here for powering the fan hub as well as the LEDs in this case. And this is a 4-pin connector that you plug into the CPU fan header on your motherboard so you can get that PWM signal to all of your 3-pin connectors on the fan hub. And this is an extension cable for plugging in a fan. Nice. You get 5 drive mounts for mounting 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drives, and as you can tell, there's plenty of space for airflow to just easily go through there, because sometimes they're like stuck really close together. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and remove one of them so you can see how it looks. Once again, captive thumb screws. Yeah, check out that jiggle. Anyway, it's all metal. What I really love about this, it's sturdy, it feels good, it looks good, and you also get these rubber pads for when you install 3.5-inch drives so that, it'll help remove some of that noise and vibration. And then here's a look at the back side if you want, also 2.5-inch drive mount as well. And if you look down here, there's also that mount for the 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drive that I showed you when we're at the bottom of the case. You get all of these tie-down points for organizing your cables, which is great because I don't see a lot of them sometimes on some cases. And as for motherboard support, it's compatible with ATX, Micro-ATX, and Mini-ITX boards. And as for cable management space, you get between 17.7 millimeters, which isn't all that much, but then you get this huge area down here to smash all of your cables into, so you're good. All right, let's take a look at the interior now. Okay, just want another look at the window. Don't scratch it. And here is another look at the 140mm rear exhaust fan. And down here is the power supply shroud. Look at that, metal. And then the NZXT logo, which will light up and blind you. I'm kidding. And above that are your 2 SSD mounts. You just remove the thumb screw, and then you just slot the metal piece out in order to mount your 2.5-inch drive. And next to the power supply shroud, you have this large or long piece of metal that is to cover up your hard drive trays because they're so hideous. I'm just kidding. Everything about this case looks really smart and clean, and honestly, it's gorgeous. I love it. I can't wait to build in it. Would definitely use this case. Now then, let's take a closer look at some of the cables that come with it. Here's a look at these front panel connectors that come with this case. You get a 20-pin USB 3.0 header, of course, and there should be a USB 2.0 cable in here too, yes, and then HD audio, as well as power and LEDs, so there's no reset plug here. Power is so lonely. Lonely. Power is so lonely. As for clearance, you get a CPU cooler height of up to 180 millimeters or 7 inches, which is plenty for most coolers, I'd say. And then a graphics card length of up to 406 millimeters or 15.9 inches without the hard drive caddies installed, and 294 millimeters or 11.5 inches with the hard drive cage. Here's a look at the LEDs on this case, and I don't know if you can tell, but the fans are on, so 1 second. I am maybe 5 or 6 feet away. But anyway, so the NZXT logo on the shroud lights up. It's a bit dimmer than I would like. And that underglow looks sick. It reminds me of those hot import cars. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and show you how this switch will turn off all the lighting. So first, the I/O shield and expansion slot. Then you'll notice 2 levels of underglow lighting in case it's too bright for you, which is a plus. And then the NZXT logo on the power shroud. And it just takes 1 click to power them all back on. Now for the pros and cons. Some of you might find the design a pro, as it's pretty modern looking, like high fashion almost, but safer. And you get plenty of mesh ventilation to keep the system cool. I love that there's so much metal in this case on the PSU shroud, hard drive panel, hard drive caddies, and the like. These days, I see a lot of cases that have support for long radiators all over the place, and it's nice to see 360mm compatibility up top and up front in this case. The 8-port PWM fan hub is a plus, especially if you want to add additional fans to your system and your motherboard just doesn't cut it. And the LEDs are a nice touch, especially the underglow, which gives it a cool effect like those illegal ones under cars. Check your state laws. More cases should adopt the rear I/O and expansion slot lighting. It can be very useful as it's generally very dark behind there. And here's a look at the cons. So a personal con for me is that I prefer my headphone and mic jacks and USB ports at the front, not the top, so I won't have to get out of my chair to plug and unplug the cables. And the LEDs are not RGB, so if you're looking for yellow or purple LEDs, you're out of luck. And the case could be more mod friendly, would have liked the option to remove the PSU shroud or hard drive panel. They're riveted in. Some of you may find the lack of an optical drive to be a con, because what if your internet goes out and you want to watch old movies, DVD movies? That's me. Or if there's some obscure product that only comes with disk software, nah. And I don't see a standalone reset button, which I always find kind of weird. I like it. And one last thing is that all the cable holes need rubber grommets. Give us the rubber grommets! Well, that wraps it up for this video on the NZXT Noctis mid-tower PC case. I'm Joanne, and if you like what you saw and you want to see more like it, be sure to hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons, as well as follow me on social media. Joanne Tech Lover Facebook fan page, Joanne Tech Lover again on Twitter, and Joanne Tech Lover once more on Instagram. Also, please don't forget to hit the donate button so you can help expand this channel and feed this techie. Check out my JTL website if you're curious as to what's going on there. I definitely need to update. There's so much going on. But anyway, there's also JTL Lifestyle, where you can go ahead and check out my other videos on everyday random gadgets, and JTL Cuteness Overload for an injection of cuteness into your day. Last but not least is storeenvy.com, where you can go ahead and check out my 8.5 by 11 inch autograph prints that you can buy. I guess all that's left to say is bye-bye!